it was recently brought to my attention that the 1975 Little Mermaid animation, also known as Hans Christian Andersen's Little Mermaid, is the animation that's the truest to the original source material. So, of course, I wanted to check this out for myself, and having now watched it, I'm pleased to say that it's quite enjoyable. I can't say how close it is to the source material because I haven't read it, but if anybody has any thoughts on that, please feel free to let me know. But it does seem to be the general consensus that it is the closest, generally speaking, to the source material. And the story is, for the film, written by Mieko Osanai and Ikuko Ōyabu. I apologise if I've mispronounced that, I'm sure I have. And is directed by Tomoharu Katsumata. And we have a voice cast, an English voice cast, including Kirsten Bishopric as Marina and Thor Bishopric as Fritz the Dolphin. And Marina is, of course, our mermaid. And Fritz the Dolphin is the kind of flounder character, and he is the cutest thing ever. He is a little baby dolphin, and he is absolutely adorable. And the story is very recognisable if you've seen, for example, Disney's version. Marina is very much interested in the prince on land, and she wants to be on land with the prince. So the sea witch says that she can arrange this for her in exchange for her beautiful voice, and she will no longer be allowed to live in the water. She will be incapable of living in the water. Is she going to make that exchange? Well, I'm not going to say, but I will say that it's generally a recognisable story if you've seen other versions, which gives me the impression that other versions are therefore quite similar to the source material, but there were a few things here with characters that were maybe a little different to what I'm used to. Marina as a character was very likeable. She was quite an interesting character. Not maybe the most well-rounded, but then that's quite true for most versions of The Little Mermaid that I've seen, so that's not unique to this version. The English voice acting is fine, if a little wooden at times, but it's not too bad. We have some lovely sound effects, lovely music. Fritz the Dolphin was absolutely adorable. With regards to the animation quality, I don't love it. I'm not really a fan of a lot of anime, a lot of Japanese anime. I like some, but I can't watch a lot of it. I don't love the animation style for this, but that's a personal preference. I'm fully aware of that. That's not a criticism of the film. I know it's a style that a lot of people really like. We do have a really nice colour palette. We have quite a lot of soft colours, which is quite nice. And in general, it was a nice experience. As a fan of a casual fan of The Little Mermaid, I quite enjoyed it. I thought it was really enjoyable. On the one hand, I'm always going to say the first Little Mermaid experience should be Disney's animated version, if you're going to watch it. But because this one's apparently closest to the source material, I'm kind of inclined to say this should be the second one that you watch. There are many, many versions out there now, of course. Disney's animated version will, in my opinion, always be the strongest, the most popular. But if this is the closest to the source material, then I say it's probably one that's worth watching. I will maybe eventually one day read the book, read the story. I feel like I should. I need to read more Hans Christian Andersen. I watch so many films that are based on his stories, and I've read almost none of them. So I need to change that. But for now, I'm pleased to have seen this. I'm thankful to the person who made me aware of this. And other than an animation style that I don't love and some English voice acting that's not the greatest throughout, it's not bad. It's not badly done, but it's maybe not the most pleasant to listen to. Aside from those factors, I'd say that it's an enjoyable story with some great characters, adorable dolphin, absolutely gorgeous, and it's a nice way to enjoy the story. If you already know the story, absolutely this is a good place to go to. If you're brand new to the story, I guess it would be a good place to start if it's close to the true story. But again, if you've never seen any Little Mermaid, then I'm always going to recommend Disney's animation first and foremost. But I think Hans Christian Andersen's The Little Mermaid, 1975, might be the one I'd recommend next. Definitely an interesting experience, and certainly one that I think is worth watching.